Hello and welcome to Retrospectrum Podcast, episode 1 of season 2.
Hey, welcome back. We finally did it. We started our second season. We're starting it off pretty strong with all the albums of the enigmatic, intense Patti Smith.
Something I found out when researching this episode is Patti Smith is exactly 40 years older than me to the day. We have the same birthday. How cool is that?
That is pretty neat. The things you learn.
I think I'm going to have to start doing a every artist's astrological sign type of a thing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say having joint birthday parties with
Ooh,
you and Patti.
I like that too. Patti, you're invited.
Yeah. Let's see if the invitation is extended the other direction. So Patti has 11 studio albums that we went through for this. I also did the greatest hits, read Just Kids, and a little bit of one of her other books. This one really was a deep dive, and I think not only does her career go interesting places, but I think this was a pretty winding conversation too. So I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, super relatable art vibes. Yay, Patti Smith.
So welcome into season 2. We will be announcing our Wheel of Death bands and our next artist at the end of each episode. So if you want to listen along with us, we have about 2 weeks between each episode. So that gives you a chance to listen to the albums between each artist as well. So that being said, enjoy our first episode of season 2 with Patti Smith.
That is amazing.
It is literally
Did
incredible.
you read the 2 I just sent you?
No, because I figured you did, and
I didn't.
oh,
I was hoping
really,
you would because I
really...
was listening to the book. I was trying to speed listen to the book. It was way longer than I thought it was going to be.
I did the last 4 albums today.
The audio book is a lot longer than the version on Spotify, and I didn't like the way that it sounded. Also, It was German. It was in German.
I wondered because the title of it looked like it was in German, and so I wondered if it was in German or... Oh wait,
yeah,
we decided
it was
that's
definitely in German. So I just hopped on my library app and it was available. So.
Well, I see it hasn't been on mine. I listened to a little bit of M Train.
Yeah,
but it was a little rambly.
What about
for my taste?
The Coral Seas one? That's her first audiobook.
No, the only book I listened to was
the Coral Seas one. It might be on
M-Train.
Tidal. You should check it out because it has musical accompaniment with it.
That's
and
fun.
I didn't finish it, but it was really cool. The reason I didn't finish it is because I wanted to listen to a little bit of this one too, to get like a feel for both of them.
Yeah, no, this has the German Just Kids on it, but it doesn't have any other audiobooks. Tidal's not real big with audiobooks or podcasts.
Well, I didn't even know these were going to be audiobooks. I was like, what the fuck is this? When I clicked on it, and then I was like, is this just like slam poetry or something? Like a whole album of slam poetry? Because that's kind of her vibe. But it was,
Yeah.
I Googled it. I had to Google it to figure out what it was. And it was actually her first, or a book she wrote with her narrating and then having music with it, which is pretty sick. I'm excited to listen to it, and I'm enjoying Just Kids. I'm like 30% done with it.
Yeah, if I were going to go back and listen to any of them, I would do Just Kids first. I think M Train is okay. It's just really kind of dry. Like they're just essays about the whole point of it is to write about nothing and like find meaning in the mundane and that sort of thing. And so it is like her writing about sitting at a coffee shop and drinking coffee, which is like didn't click with me as much.
Yeah.
Especially doing like research, I wanted more narrative structure than just
you're looking for interviews.
Yeah, stuff like that. That was more what I was expecting.
You did the Expanse books, right?
Yeah.
And you really liked it?
Yeah. And the show. Books are great. Shows are great.
My friend is reading it right now, and she says it's like her favorite sci-fi that she's ever read.
It's really good. It like makes you think about sci-fi and like it's one of those that's like really grounded in reality.
Mm-hmm.
And like how would it actually work if it actually happened
at this point?
There's not a lot of like magical thinking in it. It is really science heavy. I don't know, just like reading it was like, oh, that's a really interesting way that
legit.
could work, you know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's
Right.
actually legit, but it's
But it's convincing.
yeah, and at least makes you think like that is a plausible way that it could work. Plus the storylines are really good and all the characters are great. And they're really easy to read too. Like they're big books, but they go by pretty quickly.
Nice. That's nice. Yeah, I'm reading 2 series right now that are really easy to breeze through. One of them is the books that True Blood is based on because I hate True Blood. I say I hate it.
So you thought reading the books would change your mind?
Kind of. I hoped it would make me like it better. And I don't know if it is or not, honestly. I think I do like the books a little bit better so far, but that's just because one of the main things that I didn't like about the show is the actors.
So you can imagine your own people doing it?
Yeah, but it's kind of hard now that I have seen these actors already and I already have them emblazoned in my mind as these characters. So I'm trying really hard to imagine like the ones I hate as other people, but it's hard. But it's adding depth to the character that the actors maybe necessarily weren't giving me. So maybe it'll make me like their acting better because I can imagine the depth behind it in the books.
It's kind of like soap opera-y
Mm.
or like melodramatic, maybe.
My main problem with the show is that the 2 leads are annoying as fuck. And that's most people's problem with the show, according to the internet. The main lead, the girl, she grows on you like a fungus. The guy, not so much. He needed to be somebody else. And it's really weird because they seem to have no chemistry. And yet those 2 actors ended up having an affair like within the first season. And then they're still married right now. Like they left their partners and got together and now they're still together. And I'm like, but this makes no sense because you guys had no chemistry whatsoever. Like,
Do you remember that episode of Friends with Joey? He had his stage play and they all go to see it and he has like great chemistry with his co-star and then they end up like actually sleeping together in real life and then it ruins the chemistry on stage and they like the
I
play goes terribly because they
barely
lose
remember
their
that, but yeah.
but like that literal exact thing happened
Yeah.
on Friends.
Yeah. Well, that exact thing happened in real life with True Blood, I guess, although they never had chemistry from the get-go, from what I could tell.
Well, maybe that means,
Yeah,
they
they were
started
already
before
doing it.
filming or
Yeah,
something.
maybe. Yeah, for sure. Yeesh. And my other main issue with the show is that it jumps around too fast. Like too much happens too fast. But that's the problem with a lot of shows these days. But this was in the early 2000s, so I don't know why it was already doing that. And a lot does happen in the books, but it's like you don't have to you could spread it out, you know?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be like one book per one season or whatever they're doing. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but it just seems like the pacing is not great, in my opinion. I don't like that type of fast paced shit. I like to be able to look away every now and then.
Yeah, I've been rewatching the 90s Star Trek, well, Next Generation and
Old
Voyager
TV got
and
that
Deep
right.
Space Nine. And I'm just swapping between all 3 of them. Like, which one do I feel like watching on whatever night? It's so nice for that. It's like you can just zone out for 10 minutes and come back, and it's like, okay, we're still dealing with the same problem.
Exactly. It's not like 10 different things have happened. Somebody died.
Yeah.
And you just checked one text. Like,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, like you can get up and go to the bathroom and come back and you're fine. You
Yeah,
don't need
and
to pause.
so do you think the reason they do that these days is because of our shorter attention spans? Like with the internet and all the swiping and everything, like our attention spans have gotten shorter. I'm pretty sure I've read that.
Yeah, I think it's probably a combination of that and like so much stuff is made off of pre-existing properties that
Yeah.
it is a matter of like trying to cram everything in everything.
You're right. Like nothing is original anymore. It's all
No.
from a book or a comic or a past movie or a past show. They're just rebooting or adding to or whatever. Like, did we run out of material? Like that cannot be possible.
It's got to be cheaper to adapt something than to come up with and you kind of already have a built-in fan base.
That's what it is. It's all about money. It's not about like the ability to get new material. It's about, oh, this already exists and people already like it. Let's fucking capitalize on that shit. Which is exactly what we're doing with these podcasts.
That's true. That's true.
Speaking of,
I am talking to somebody who is psyched about the Frasier reboot. We are part of the problem. Although I think we're unearthing new stuff for ourselves. It's stuff that already existed, but it's stuff that we're theoretically unfamiliar with, or digging into things in a new way. To tie that thought in, I think Patti Smith does a really interesting job of bringing up old influences, because like almost every album has a cover or two, and so like that idea of taking an old idea and making it relevant or current. I don't think she does it in a like capitalistic trying to make money off it sort of thing.
I think she does it in an admiration tribute
Right.
type of way.
Yeah, a lot of homages. Because I mean, if you look at the first song on the first album is a cover, or but also not like a straight up cover, like it is her version of the original song. I think it's interesting. I haven't done this. This is like the 13th or 14th artist we've done this with, starting to draw a lot more connections between everybody, because I think there are parallels between Patti Smith and even Tracy Chapman, and clearly Bikini Kill and Kathleen Hanna and the Riot Girl stuff and the Clash, I think, and Patti Smith are cut from the earlier stuff, at least, are cut from a very similar cloth. So I don't know. It's interesting to see how it all ties together, man.
Yeah. And even speaking of tied together, the Distillers covered one of her fucking songs.
Yeah, definitely.
And that second album was really well, the first one I have written that it's got Iggy Pop, Bikini Kill, Lou Reed vibes, youthful, energetic. It's a killer album. Long ass songs.
Do you have previous Patti Smith experience or connections or?
My previous Patti Smith experience, the first thing I can recall is I was a little kid and I would always get Patti Smith and Patti Smith confused because there are two Patti Smiths.
One with a Y.
One with two Y's and one with two I's. And I always thought the other one was pronounced Smythe, not Smith.
Oh, yeah.
But it's Smith. So yeah, as a kid, I just never really knew who Patti Smith was because I was always confused on which. I knew there were two, but I didn't know which was which. And I didn't really know much of this Patti Smith's music. The other Patti Smith was way more in the forefront for me because my dad and like whatever music video channel like she was definitely on like in the 90s or whatever. So yeah, that's my first introduction to Patti Smith is not Patti Smith, but Patti Smith, you know?
So Patti Smith with a Y, her first album on here came out in 1991. So she really did shoot the gap of like, now's the time.
Yeah.
I'll be Patti Smith now. I'll take over.
Like in between two of Patties or something.
Yeah, like maybe thinking like she's done. There's room for a new Patti Smith.
Little did she know Patti Smith, the real Patti Smith, was never done and will never be done.
Hadn't even really gotten started.
Exactly.
Yet.
And her art is fucking timeless too. And she's the one with like enduring world changing shit, not the other Patti Smith.
I think I knew 2 songs out of her discography. Like she just wasn't.
I knew songs, but I didn't know who it was, I don't think. And then I became a little bit more aware of her years later, like as a teen probably, but still hadn't really listened to much of it because like the CDs weren't readily available to me or anything. They weren't at the store that I'm aware of that I recall. I don't remember ever seeing any of her records anywhere, honestly.
Which is interesting because she released stuff up through our junior high and high school. Like seems like we would have seen
literally
her stuff
still releasing shit right now.
Right.
And yeah, it does seem like we would have, especially since she's the godmother of punk or whatever. She's right up our alley, but somehow I just kind of missed that train. And then I saw her at fucking Riot Fest. And I was like, I knew that I had to see it. And like, I knew that it was important for me to go see her.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was watching it, I knew that it was like a huge fucking deal.
Yeah.
But I still wasn't super familiar with most of her songs. So yeah, I'm like, I have always been like vaguely aware of her basically. And now I'm obsessed with her. So.
It's moved from vaguely aware to deeply obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had preconceived notions a little bit, that it was going to be a little more like Joan Jett-y, tough rocker, but like pretty straightforward and kind of like whatever bland,
interesting
70s classic rock vibe, and just never had gone out of my way to listen to her. Again, it wasn't something that was like readily available, and definitely aware of the name and like the imagery and that sort of thing. But as soon as I turned the first album on, I was like, oh yeah, okay. I should have been doing this a long time ago. Like
Yeah.
this was a gap that I'm glad has been
Filled.
filled.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm so excited about this podcast in general, is
Yeah.
like people that we've always wanted to listen to but have never gotten around to, or always knew we should check out and never gotten around to. This is the perfect way to do that. Obsessive deep dives on someone you barely know.
And now I feel like I know them on a personal level.
Expertly. Yeah, on a
No,
personal
I don't,
level.
and that's something I want. Like, I don't feel like an expert, especially with her. And I've done hours of research and reading, reviews when the albums came out and all this stuff, but I still feel like there is a mountain of information and content
I feel
and
the same way.
art to consume because I didn't like, there's the whole photography aspect of her output that didn't really get into, didn't even like touch that area of it. And I feel like that's a whole segment of who she is as an artist that, like, even after hours of interaction, haven't even begun to uncover.
So she's in her 70s. That's a lifetime, literally, of artwork. And I relate to her so heavily on being all over the place with your forms of art type scenario. Like, I'm that same way. Like, imagine people trying to uncover the masses of shit I've done over the years when I fucking die or whatever. Oh, also the documentary I related to so heavily because it's like you're making a documentary about yourself. And it took like a decade for her to do it too. Like, that is so relatable. Like,
Well, and it was also, again, kind of like I watched about the first quarter of that documentary. It's just kind of like
oh, you
hanging
didn't
out, like,
watch the whole thing?
no, I didn't get around. I
It's
didn't
good.
finish it. But it's like, here's me packing to get ready to go somewhere, here's me hanging out backstage. But like, it was just little snippets and little snapshots of the regular existence, kind of like that book was essays on, the mundane and how there is still value there.
Well, and that's like, I feel like that's like the whole thing with artists is like finding the beauty in the mundane.
I feel kind of the same way about her as I do as like Bob Dylan and types of artists like that, where it's like, we are, from the outside, it's nice to like parse the lyrics and get into the meaning behind everything. It's a little cryptic. I think it's intentionally left vague, and like they're contradictory in interviews, and they say one thing and then say something different later, and also kind of like a figure it out yourself sort of thing.
And they're still figuring it out and evolving constantly too.
But I think they would be really difficult to be like in a room with, on a real, like, if they were your friend, just like somebody that you knew, that you would be like, all right, Patty, like, come on, tone it down a little bit, like, you don't need to be this intense about everything all the time.
It's like she has a inner comfort that I have never felt.
You mean like a confidence, or like a...
No, I have the confidence. It's just the comfort in existing in the moment. Maybe a stillness of the mind is what I'm thinking of. Maybe she doesn't have ADHD, and that's just the difference that I'm noticing. But she speaks and moves like really slowly, and like, and maybe I was more like this when I was younger too. And maybe now I'm just more stressed and like a busybody or something. I'm not really sure, but just the way that she, like, there was one point where she was just telling, she was like backstage or something, I don't know, telling a story to another random guy, and the story, like, it wasn't even like overly entertaining or anything. She speaks pretty slowly, so she was just telling this story slowly. People were kind of standing around listening or whatever, and then as soon as the story was over, she just sat down and nobody really commented. Everyone kind of just turned away and went about their business. And I was just like, if that happened to me, if I told a story and then people like didn't really respond, I would be like, okay, well, I guess, why the fuck am I here? What's happened? Like, I don't know. I would just be confused on why I'm in the presence of people who don't want to get excited and engage about something, but she was just so didn't give a single fuck about any feedback or whatever. She was just existing is what I mean. She's just like slow and she seems comfortable with existing and I'm not, quite frankly not. And so that's like the main difference that I noticed.
I think part of that comes through in her music, but I also think there's another half of it where like her music is all over the place and can be really intense and not slow and methodical.
Yeah.
Kind of sporadic, and even like the first couple of albums, there's like improvised lyrics and like you can tell they're just kind of making it up as they're playing it in the studio,
Yeah.
which I thought was so cool and something that really you don't find as much anymore of just like let it happen and then whatever you get on that take, you know. And I know there probably
love
weren't like
shit like
one
that,
take
too.
things, but it comes through so clearly that like they're just kind of, especially on Horses, like they're just kind of winging it and we're capturing what they did on that take on that day.
That's one of the things that I love so much about artists like this is it's just the pure authenticity situation happening. I feel like most artists, especially these days, and maybe it has to do with the fact that the internet exists and there's so much more like, I don't know, competition, if you want to call it that. But like, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It seems like there aren't very many people that seem very authentic to me anymore. And she and all of her friends and people back in the day were so much more authentic. And it like really shows.
I see. I feel like there's a little bit of a persona or like put onness with some of her stuff. Like there's a
Maybe they're putting on authenticity really well then.
well, but it's like a removal. Like I am the artist presenting this rather than I am the person presenting. I don't know. There is like to me a layer of disconnect a little bit, but it's because it's so intellectualized. Like so much of the music is like raw and kind of simple, but like all of the lyrics are so dense. But maybe that's me projecting.
I think that's just how she authentically thinks, though.
Right. But like that's different from how, for me, like how I would be. So
that's kind of surprising to me because I feel like you're also you're intelligent and you're introspective and you think about the world at large.
yeah, but I don't connect with poetry, and she is a poet, and I need someone to tell me what it means, you know? Like it's really
Her
hard
and
for me
Bob
without.
Dylan are like the two of the only poets that I can fucking tolerate. I could listen to her spout her shit forever,
For
but
15-minute tracks at a time.
yeah, literally of her speaking so similarly to the cadence of normal spoken word poetry, but for some reason it feels so authentic coming from her. And that's, I think, what I hate so much about normal spoken word is that it feels so put on. It's like the cadence. It's like, what are you doing? Nobody talks like that. Like you're not thinking in that cadence. Why are you saying it in that cadence?
Part of what I also enjoy about doing this was like I'm Googling beat poets and like
Same.
18th century romanticists that she keeps name dropping and stuff. And it's maybe like, if I like Patti Smith, maybe I'll like, you know, Rimbaud or whatever, because that is like her, you know,
Idol or
pinnacle
whatever.
or whatever. And it's like, no, I don't. It's just, it's not the same.
Well,
It's
the
not.
thing is she ingested so much of this literature as a youth.
Mhm.
And so it just really stuck with her from back then. And that's how I feel about shit that I read as a youth. It like impacted me so heavily that I think shit is so good that maybe if I saw it today for the first time, I wouldn't think it was that great.
Yeah.
But it's when you're young, it's like you're starving for knowledge or creativity or a different way to see the world or whatever it is. You're fucking just desperate for it. So then when you find a little flicker of that, you really cling on to it.
So did you listen to the first single, the Hey Joe and Piss Factory?
I don't think I did.
One's a Jimi Hendrix cover, but the B-side, Piss Factory, is about her working in the assembly line.
That was her first recording.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interviews and stuff where she's talking about how like she would take like books of poetry to her assembly line job, and everybody would talk shit on her and like, you know, what are you doing? This isn't what we do here, you know, and how she was, like you said, like yearning for that little spark of like there is more to life than this. And I think that was
Piss Factory.
I think that was a motivator for her to go to New York and then do all the stuff that she did, was like there's more, there has to be more to it than this clock in and clock out. And like,
Well, and that's the beginning of her book, is her like wanting to get out and then getting out and literally being homeless. Like I relate so heavily because I moved out when I was 17 and lived in my car for a year because I was like, I got to get the fuck out of this. And I think she felt the same way and, you know, was homeless, met Robert Mapplethorpe, and they were both homeless teenagers in New York, just making art and scraping by. Relatable.
and it's like the Chelsea Hotel and like that whole, you can go from being homeless to now you're an artist and now you're living in the Chelsea Hotel and now you have somebody kind of bankrolling
and
your
now Bob Dylan's tuning your
artistic
guitar.
endeavor. Yeah, exactly. Like the distance between homeless scrub nobody to artist hanging out with Bob Dylan and all these other like iconic
Really
influential, it's really
small.
small in New
Yeah.
York in the 60s and late 60s and 70s.
Right. But even our youth, like as I'm reading this book and as I was watching the documentary, all I could think was, this was our life. These are our friends. This
Yeah, but
is
our friends
kind
aren't
of what
Bob
I
Dylan and
experienced.
Robert Mapplethorpe.
Yeah, but they
and
could have been.
Jimi Hendrix.
You know what
and-
I mean? Like any one of these artists is this close to either God level, you know, shit or being dead in a gutter. Like
Right.
every single artist could go either way. It just depends on little circumstances, little happenings. But, you know, being from where we're from, again, like you said, they moved to New York. It's a lot
Right, yeah, that's
easier
what I mean,
when
the-
you're on the streets of New York, on the streets of
Yes.
San Francisco to be meeting these people when you're on the streets of
Yeah.
Oklahoma City or whatever.
Yeah, the
It's
soil was a
not
little
so
more
much.
fertile there.
Right.
I thought it was interesting for that first run. Like she was plugged in with all these artists and stuff, right? She did you know she wrote songs for Blue Oyster Cult?
That's kick ass.
She was dating like the keyboard player or somebody in Blue Oyster Cult and wrote lyrics for 3 or 4 of their songs. Almost joined Blue Oyster Cult, which I thought was really interesting. But it's like, was part of that. But Horses, so she's born in 1946. Horses came out in 1975. She was 29 when Horses came out, which to me is like, when you think about iconic artists, not a lot of them are debuting at 29 and
I
then
think it's
releasing
more
like
than
into
we
their
think.
30s.
I think society just focuses on youth, but I think there's a lot more, you know, famous later in life or recognized later in life artists than we realize.
Maybe recognized, but that was her first thing. Like that was her debut. Was that late in
But
life?
it
Like
kind
it
of
wasn't
wasn't her first
well,
thing because
musically.
sure.
I mean,
But in my eyes, because this is how I am also, all the different art forms, even if they seem unrelated, it's all fucking related. Even though she's painting or whatever it is, that is building up to this music thing. And her poetry, especially, obviously, lyrics.
Right.
In the book, she talked about going to see the Doors, and she thought, I could do that. And she was like, why would I think that? I've never done anything musically. I don't know why I thought that, but I just thought I could do that. Little did she know the fucking
right.
rock
turns
star
out,
she was going to be.
turns
Turns
out
out,
she
yeah,
could.
you can do that.
She was right.
And see, that's the difference. What I was saying before, like it could go either way with any human on the planet. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe there's somebody out there that's so bland and not artistic at all and couldn't do this. But in my eyes, if you have any splash of like that sort of thing, all you have to do is feed it. A lot of people are assholes about it though. That's their problem, is they're like, they look at a painting and think I could do that, but then they never do. The thing about her is she thought I could do that and then she did. Like that's all it takes, is doing it or not.
And she spawned an entire genre of, I mean, how many people have seen punk bands and then thought, I can do that, and then went and did it. And so I think that was one of the reasons that punk caught on so much, is it was because like you watch like Jimi Hendrix or Led Zeppelin or whatever, and you don't leave that show thinking
I can do that.
I can do that. You know what I mean? Like you leave that thinking like,
wow,
oh my God, that's like a once
god.
in a yes. Yeah, like no way could I ever do that. But you leave a Ramones show and you're like,
Yeah, I could do that.
yeah, I could buy a leather jacket and play power chords. Like I could do that. And then you go and do it, you know? And so like lowering that, or like showing other people, I guess, thinking that you can do it, doing it, and then showing other people that like, hey, you could do it too, I think is a interesting through line through her stuff.
Well, yeah, she's a doer.
Yeah.
she's authentic in that way too.
but also not a doer. I mean, there were years, like most of the 80s, where she wasn't releasing music or
Yeah, but
playing
she was
live
doing
or
stuff, I'm sure.
so I kind of want to look at this through like three different eras. I think the first four albums, Horses, Radio Ethiopia, Easter, and Wave, are kind of like the first chunk. I mean, they're all released within 4 years of each other. They're all in the 70s and they're all a lot more similarly vibed.
The first one, I was so fucking excited. I mean, obviously, when that first song comes on, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Where have you been all my life?
Yeah. 10 seconds. You're like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, I already knew this song too.
This was one of the
Right.
two. Yeah.
It's like the most famous one, probably.
Well, and so for me, the most famous thing about this album is the cover. I mean, having not ever heard it, I have seen this album cover forever. Like it's an iconic
It's very lesbian.
image, and it's floated around for. Well, I think that was one of the things that helped set her apart was the kind of androgyny and not being sold as a female artist and just being an artist, you know.
Yes, that's hot. And I think Patty's definitely got like a non-binary thing going on. But she seems like painfully hetero sometimes. Like when she's talking about being a mother and shit like that. I'm just like, ugh. I mean, that's cool. It's fine.
It's not what you're looking for.
Right. Not what I had hoped.
So I listened to Horses. I've listened to her whole discography twice. Did it like 6 months ago and then have just recently redone it. The first time through, it was kind of like so beyond what I had expected, you know, that it was like hard to even process what am I listening to as I'm listening to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Listening through to it again this time, there's really like 3 really solid songs and then a lot of the like loose spoken word stuff and what sounds kind of improvised. Songwriting was not the main focus of this album, I would say. I think it's mostly about like energy and attitude and the feeling behind it versus like crafting a really good song.
Well, I haven't gotten to any point in the book or anything of her talking about music quite yet, except for the Jim Morrison thing. But, you know, obviously at the beginning, she probably doesn't really even know how to play or anything.
Right. Well, she doesn't play anything. She doesn't play instruments on almost all of her recordings.
Okay, that makes sense because she's in the documentary, she was playing guitar and a guy that was with her was like talking shit to her about her being bad at it.
She's mentioned in multiple interviews that she doesn't consider herself a musician. Like she considers
She's
herself
more of a poet.
Well, she says performer. She considers herself a performer, and like that's where her strength is. But she's not a musician. I listened to a little bit of a podcast with her and Flea.
Oh yeah, he was in the doc too.
She said that to him, and he's like, I've played with you. I don't agree with that. You may not play the instruments, but you know how you want it to sound, and you know when it's not good enough, and you know like what it should be. So even if you're not actually playing the instruments, like you have a musical ear.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
So Horses produced by John Cale from the Velvet Underground. Did you read any of the stuff about their recording environment?
I read a little bit. And I think I sent you an article about it. And it makes sense too, because my note on the first one says Lou Reed vibes.
They apparently did not get along, nor did they like each other. And there was a bunch of fighting. And it was like, I think he thought they were going to be better musicians than they were. And they weren't super talented or like.
She seems pretty like headstrong too.
Yes. And I'm sure he probably had his own opinions as well as someone who was already a successful musician. But it was recorded at Electric Lady, which was Jimi Hendrix's studio, where the Clash also recorded. So again, it's these connections,
man.
Small world. So thinking of this as like a punk rock album, which I think is the most accurate genre label you could put on it.
Or just rock, maybe.
Yeah, but like if you compare it to other rock being made in 1975, it's
most of her
more...
genre wise. She's confusing genre wise.
Definitely,
like every single album has a splash of something different. There's fucking bongos and shit at one point. Like there's all kinds of shit. I have notes on. I mean, even the next album has like reggae vibes. It has a blues vibe.
But some of the stuff on this one's kind of reggae too. Has that kind of attitude. But like, okay, thinking about like this being the, you know, genesis of punk and like this mixed with especially the Clash, because that's really where my brain was at with it. How much more artistic it feels, like, and how much more deep it feels, and how it got like boiled out and distilled to these like brain dead slogans and like chant sing along stuff, and really straightforward, really simplified. Like, I think there's a space for that, but this part of punk rock with like spoken word stuff and really challenging ideas and lyrics and all that, like,
That's punk.
it definitely wasn't what punk turned into. Like, they didn't go this route
Punk
with
turned
it.
into
They
pop
went,
punk,
yeah,
which
they
is
went
not it.
the other route, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I feel like this is so much more intelligent and artistic than so much of what that genre
I agree.
became. It was really easy finding a lot of information about horses, doing research and stuff. Like, everyone has written a retrospective or a review or a article or has some sort of thought about horses, because it is the, I think if there was one album that most people are going to recognize from her discography, it's going to be Horses.
Was it your favorite?
I don't think it was my favorite.
I don't think it was mine either.
I think it's great.
I agree. It might be my second favorite.
I think it's my favorite out of this.
The first four.
Yeah, out of the like Patti Smith group albums, because these are all like the first four are all the same musicians basically. They switch names from Horses to Patti Smith Group for the next three albums.
I
but
noticed
it's like
that.
it's all the same people pretty much, minus producers.
That was
they
nice of her.
to make it the group and not
Yeah.
just her. Her and Lenny Kaye, the guitarist, I mean, other than that Fred Smith album in the 80s, did most everything together. Like, they collaborated on every other album together. It was also surprisingly well received, like critically, well reviewed and that sort of thing. In my opinion, surprisingly, because I could see people not liking it. Like, I could see people having complaints, especially if you're used to normal rock and roll records.
She has been oddly idolized, maybe like her whole career.
I think she benefited from doing a bunch of live shows before releasing the album, like playing at CBGBs and kind of like building that word of mouth and like, oh shit, this is something cool and new that's happening. So by the time the album was recorded and released, there was already some like clout built up.
Okay, so I was just giving the masses the benefit of the doubt, thinking just she's so brilliant that everyone can see it. But maybe that's not the case.
I mean, there may be a little bit that, but the next album, Radio Ethiopia, it
So
was
good.
not like, it was like sophomore slump, like classic follow up to a
I don't know
iconic
why.
debut.
It was so
I
good.
agree. It's like, if you liked the first one, you are gonna like Radio Ethiopia. Like, they're not wildly different. It is.
That's the one with the Distillers cover.
Yes. Yeah, that's the one
Ask
they
the
did.
Angels,
Ask
the
the
first
Angels.
song. It's so good. I love that song.
Every first track on every one of her albums is great. They're not always necessarily the best song on the album, but every single opener is a great song.
I
and
agree.
Also kind of like
Sets
lets
the
you know
tone
what
for
you're
the
in
album.
for.
I agree.
Yeah, for the rest of the album. It's like, so if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, just listen to the first song and be like, if you like that one, you'll like the rest of the album.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't like that, probably
Maybe
not going to like the rest
skip
of it.
I would say that there are a few songs in the middle of each one that kind of give a different flavor.
I don't mean that to say like every song sounds the same, because
Right,
I don't
I
think
know.
that's true
Yeah.
either. But
I
it
agree,
is,
though. It sets the tone for sure.
yeah, like it tells you kind of what you're in for.
And the second album was very like Susie vibes. Then there's some like reggae shit happening. There's sort of like a Neil Young bluesy type of jam happening. She had some fucking organ in there.
They changed producers. John Cale didn't come back for the second
That makes
album.
a lot of sense.
And the dude that worked on this worked with Aerosmith and Cheap Trick and did some of John Lennon's albums. I get a lot of the like Cheap Trick kind of new wave sort of.
I can see the John Lennon vibe.
Even like the Cars and like
Cars, I was getting a lot too.
Less developed, and earlier and stuff, but still that kind of like, it's definitely more pop sounding. And it's not as rough as the first album.
Her saying she's not a musician, I can kind of see what she's saying in a way. Like, it's almost like because she's not a musician first, the music is its own special thing. Yeah, and even like her covers and shit. It's still so her. It's not like she's ripping off their vibe or whatever she liked about them. It's just such a natural influence.
So, she's obsessed with Arthur Rimbaud, the 18th century poet. Apparently, after he retired from being a poet, he moved to Ethiopia and like ran guns and did a bunch of crazy shit in there. So I was reading about this article. It was like there was a weird Ethiopia connection. But the last track is called Abyssinia, and that was the former name of Ethiopia. And those last two tracks, Radio Ethiopia and Abyssinia, like blend together. And it's so she does these songs that are all like
I did notice
noise.
that because I play my shit on a loop, so the
Mhm.
album starts over every time.
Mm-hmm. But like those really long tracks that have a really slow build and have a lot of noise and have a
Very
lot of
David
like,
Lynch.
dude, I love those songs. I made a specific playlist of all the songs, all the
Nice.
Patti Smith songs
Okay.
that are over 9 minutes long.
So since you're saying this, you have to listen to the Mummer Love and the Paradam ones that I text you and said, did you listen to these two? It's 2019 and 2020. She made these albums collaborating with another
The Soundwalk Collective.
artist.
There's a
Yes.
third one called the Peyote Dance also.
These are fucking sick.
Yeah, I wanted to listen to them, but they're all super long. And are they all ambient or are they all spoken word with like ambient music in the background? Is that
I didn't finish them, but all of that, yeah, ambient spoken word, but mostly ambient. I feel like I wish I would have had time to do more.
Yeah, I might go back, but that to me would be something that I would put on when I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
trying to set a mood, like
Yeah.
reading something, or just kind of want some background noise
fucking
versus like
yoga.
really sitting and focusing and listening to it. It felt a little too ambient for me to want to sit there and listen to all of them straight through. But I love those songs, man. Almost every single one of them on all of the albums. They can get a little repetitive, but by the time you get to the end and the like big release at the end, it's like, yeah.
You have to commit, hang in there, and then it pays off at the end.
So most of her album photos are Robert Mapplethorpe pictures, but Radio Ethiopia was not. It's a different photographer.
That's interesting.
I thought so too, because they still look like.
Well, it's a little bit different in that it looks like a candid from like backstage or something.
Like, unless of like a portrait, you mean?
Yeah, it's more like rock star nightlife vibe. And the rest are way more personal portrait vibe, more artistic. And what I noticed about almost every album cover, if she's on it, she's looking down and it's not a huge focus on the face. And
Except
I love
for
photography
Horses
like that.
and Dream of Life.
Yes, those are the two where she's like looking straight on, but every other one she's either in profile or looking down, hair in the face.
This one, Radio Ethiopia, people did not like this album. Like, they all thought it was a letdown.
They're wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just.
Even like just the Ask the Angel song is enough to carry the whole fucking thing, if you ask me.
I think it's that like you set a bar too high for yourself, it's hard to live up to.
Also, maybe it was like too deep, too heavy.
I think, dude, it's that same punk rock thing of like there were accusations of being a sellout, changing your sound and all that stuff. And
That
it's like,
makes
man,
no
have
sense.
a little bit of.
Also, like, there's not that much to change just after one album. It's like if she's not a musician, she's just figuring her shit out.
Even the dude at all of her albums are on Arista Records. And even the dude that's like the head of that record label, there was something where they were like arguing about an idea on the album. And eventually he was like, you know what? You're the artist. I'm going to get out of your way. Like,
Yeah.
that's like,
hello.
That's how strong of a vision I think that she had, that even people who are not artists or like don't even really have, like, they want to make money off of these albums are still like, you know what? You do your thing. Like, I'm gonna trust you to do your thing.
That's what I'm saying is I think even the layman can look at her and see this bitch has a thing going on, obviously.
Yeah, there's something happening here. So how'd you feel about Easter?
So I felt like that was a bit of a departure. It's kind of got like a disco late 80s though electronic situation. Also kind of have some native vibe, kind of Jesus-y.
There are a lot of native references that kind of get into that, and a lot of religious stuff. And it's not always, I think she got pigeonholed as like anti-religious, but I don't think that she is. I think that she's come out and been like,
well, Robert Mapplethorpe was heavily Catholic, and she talks about that in the book and being like really kind of shocked by how intense his parents were about it and shit.
When she
like,
grew up
couldn't come out to
Jehovah's
them.
Witness,
She pretended to be his wife for him, even though she thought that was like absurd. But then she met the parents and was like, oh, I get why you wanted this because they're fucking crazy.
yeah.
So she probably was kind of anti-religious, but not anti-spirituality would be my guess.
All right, so this one was
not my fave.
Is it Because the Night? Is that the...
Because the night belongs to us. That's a good one.
That one was the big single, and it was like the biggest song of Patti Smith's career, like the
And
highest.
this is 1978, which
Yes.
it feels very 80s energy to me. And I think this song is probably part of what had me confused with the other Patti Smith.
That makes sense. I can definitely see that.
Because I think that this was like the main song that I knew, possibly the only song that I knew of hers back in the day when I was confusing the two.
It's a Bruce Springsteen song.
That makes total fucking sense.
Total sense, right? Like, it was a half-written song they were recording at the same place at the same time, and so he sent her like a cassette with it unfinished. She wrote like half the lyrics to it, and he used the other half of his lyrics, but it sounds like a Bruce Springsteen song.
Yeah, definitely. It also sounds like a Patti Smith with a Y song as well.
It does not do it for me.
I like that song, but I'm not crazy about the rest of the album.
It's just kind of bland and kind of boring and very straightforward, and like, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. I don't really particularly find it interesting.
Okay, so do you know Yes, I Am the Warrior? That song?
I was gonna let you keep going till it clicked, even if I didn't know
Goodbye
it.
to you. That one. Those are the
No,
other Patti
neither
Smith.
of those. They
Okay,
both
well,
sounds
they're
like
very
songs that-
80s,
yeah.
and they're very like power ballady.
Yeah, that's like my least
Because
favorite.
the night kind of has that energy. And so the two Patti Smiths blended together in my brain as a child because of all this. Because that era is when I would have known of her too, like her 80s type of era.
This one, the first note that I wrote was all songs, exclamation point. Like, this was the first album, and it was like, these are all songs. Like, we made songs for this whole album. It wasn't songs and poetry as much together. It was, yeah. So that one was produced and halfway written by Springsteen, and really leaves me kind of cold. The opening track, though, again, great. Till Victory. I'm telling you, every single opening track is awesome. Okay, so I have to talk about this because I don't feel like I can have a good discussion about Patti Smith without bringing it up. Did you listen to the streamed versions?
Yeah.
Okay, pull up the track list on Spotify.
It's up.
What's track 6 on your track listing?
Yeah, it's not available.
Does it show it on there though?
It shows it.
Like grayed out?
It's grayed out.
Okay, it's not even on Tidal. Like, the track doesn't even show up on there.
Well, she says the N-word in the documentary as well.
She says it a lot on that song.
She says that she's the world's N-word, I think, is her words on the documentary.
It bothers me. It bothers me that it's on here because I tried to like find justification for it, that I was like, oh, okay. Like, I get it. I understand the idea behind it, but I just think that it is well-intentioned, but like a very poor choice. I just think it's a poor choice. I think it was a poor choice in 1978. I don't think it reads well then, and I definitely don't think it holds up now.
I'm right there with you. Like, I get the sentiment, and I get that it was the 70s.
Yeah.
We weren't really thinking all this shit through to completion. And it's interesting how you can be right in the metaphor or whatever, but the specific word that you're using is just in poor taste. Not just in poor taste, but just the baggage of that specific word makes it a poor choice.
Well, and I get it because it's supposed to be like, the idea of it is to be shocking. I think that's an intention behind it. I think it's also supposed to be reframing the meaning, but I don't. Okay, here's my thought. I don't think it's her
place
to do that. Like, she doesn't get to be the one who does it.
So it all makes sense to me why it happened. Not that it's like cool or whatever, and like obviously Spotify doesn't even let you listen to it, and I didn't listen to it, so you did listen to it.
It's on the vinyl. I bought the record. What really bothers me is not the idea behind the song. Like, I think it's misguided and wrongheaded, but there's at least a conversation to be had. But the thought of this song being performed live and all the people in the audience singing along to it, and what message that sends and what sort of environment that creates. And also, if you are someone who is a poet who believes in like the power of spoken word and language to like affect change or to cause feelings in people or to like the value of
words.
Language.
Yeah.
If you think that words have the ability to do things, then you also have to believe that words have the ability to do harm.
And you have
and
responsibility.
responsibility. And I think you have to be very conscious of that.
She's also obsessed with Jackson Pollock for some reason, which I find to be very interesting because I am the opposite. I think,
He gets name dropped in there, and it's like, I
yeah,
get it. You're trying to say as someone who lives outside society, and there's like the reframing of you don't want to be a part of society, and like if society's for it, you're against it, which is part of using the word.
yeah,
Also, because it like
yes,
by
yes,
using
yes.
it, you're placing yourself outside of the bounds of normal society.
I feel like there's a handful of like old folk and punk songs that use language to be shocking and to make a point.
Yeah.
But sometimes the point is kind of skewed by the language itself. So
And by the person
it's
you know,
confusing. It's like
sending the message. I don't know.
yeah.
It was a thorn in my
Yeah.
thought process for this whole thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Easter's fine. It has the Bruce Springsteen song, which was a huge hit.
I
It
love
has
the
her.
album cover. I mean, armpit hair, all for it. No bra and armpit hair. Hell yeah. I was really jazzed to listen to this one when I saw the album cover, and then I listened to it and I
Was it a
was
little
not
bit
so
of a
jazzed.
letdown?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My main note on it was not my fave.
The way that you feel about that's kind of how I feel about Wave, the fourth one, the last Patti Smith group album.
I liked Wave way better. It's got like definitely a groovy late 70s vibe, kind of like a Stevie Nicks thing going on.
Yeah. This was the one to me that had more of like a disco-y 70s.
I didn't take hardly any notes on it, so it was unremarkable to me.
It was really
But I liked it better than Easter.
Produced by Todd Rundgren. That means anything to you, which all the punk rockers hated, I think. And it is out of the four of them, I think they get progressively more like polished. I think this was the most like radio friendly or like most polished package. The longest song on here is only 5.5 minutes long, so there's no giant, rambly track,
still long
noise
enough.
track.
I really like Dancing Barefoot. That's a good one.
The first song, Frederick, is about Fred Smith, her husband, that she ended up marrying. And yeah, and then Dancing Barefoot was also a standout. I think it was the second single from that. It's a good one too. Oh, Citizenship. I thought like that's a bad pun, but that's a good song.
I love a bad pun.
My main note for this one was good, but not like iconic. Like I get why it's not really brought up. Like it's not a bad album. It's just not. Except for I think Revenge is a great song too. I mean, I don't know. There's good songs on all these albums, but this one was a little more.
I liked the Wave ones too.
Was that one spoken word?
No, I think it was like fast and rockin'. I could be wrong.
But so that was like the end of the Patti Smith group, like that first the punk rock.
And then she went back to just Patti Smith.
Yeah, all the rest of them are all released just as Patti Smith. Even though later it comes back around and they're all back in the band.
Yeah, I was wondering. So on the next one, on the fifth one, does she leave? Is it a different band or?
So the next one's Dream of Life, and it came out in 1988. So it was 9 years between Wave and Dream of Life, where there wasn't.
She was probably like having kids and shit.
Had a couple kids, got married, moved to Detroit. But they wrote, I mean, they're both musicians, right? They wrote this album together, and Fred Smith, who's the guitarist of MC5, plays guitar on all of these songs. And they have a very, like, it's very 80s rock. It's very professionally done. It's
my note is very late 80s vibe, giving Coke commercial.
Yes, 100%. Which, like, I don't know. This one just does not do it for me. It's
same.
That People Have the Power song. It's cheesy. People like this one feels cheesy. Everything else feels.
I agree, dude.
Kind of like gritty or raw or
and
whatever.
It's probably because she was like happy with a family. Like that doesn't make for good music. You need to be in pain. Do you think you have to suffer for your art, or do you think you can make?
I think that's a myth.
I think for certain types of people, maybe suffering isn't required to make art. Like she obviously made this album, but like for it to be good, I think if you are suffering, it amps up the level of quality like intensely.
Okay, let me flip the script on that thought. Maybe you identify more with art created by people who have suffered.
Maybe.
And it's less about the art being good or bad and about how
good is subjective.
That's what I mean. So it may not
be. But obviously
her
better shit. I mean, you're agreeing with me. this album is not the best.
You asked, is it necessary? I would
Right.
say,
It's obviously not necessary to create things because people create things all the time, but to create something good and meaningful.
well, meaningful to who, though? That's what I mean.
Right.
Like, if you perceive it as meaningful, it may have more to do with you identify more with the suffering that comes through the art than that the art is in itself. Okay, so Dream of Life, it makes me feel bad because I feel like it is the album that she made at like her like life peak of like when she was the happiest, but
Yeah.
it is
The
far and
worst
away my
one.
least favorite album. Yes. So again,
That
saying
goes
it's not
along with what I
necessary.
was saying.
Yeah, but this is the worst album for sure, sonically and musically, and
Lyrically.
it's well done. It's professionally made, but it's just not an enjoy. Out of all of them, I will not go back and re-listen
Even the album
to
cover
that one.
is one of my least favorites, which seems strange because it's just a picture of her, like so many of them, but something about it.
So the next, like, okay, that's the middle section. Like, that's the like intermission of her career. I feel like we had the punk rock stuff, the Patti Smith group in the beginning. We have Dream of Life that she did with Fred, kind of in the middle. That's like a weird outlier. And then in '96, Gone Again comes out. So did you do a
Did
lot
they
of?
break up or anything?
Okay, have you done any research on Gone Again?
Negative.
All right, this album, man, in 1990, from 94 to 95, her husband dies. Robert Mapplethorpe dies, although I think he died in the late 80s. Her brother died like very close to when her husband died. She was close with like Kurt Cobain and Jeff Buckley. They both died. There was like this string of people that she was close to within those 2 year span or whatever that all passed away really close to each other. And so she moved from Detroit back to New York City. And then, like, I don't know, said her musical friends. I think maybe like I don't, Michael Stipe keeps getting brought up
She was
on
really
this.
close to
Like,
Michael Stipe.
I think that he was one of the people that was like, hey, you should be making music again, like, and got her back into making music. And so this album, Gone Again, is the first one that she did after all those people passed away. And the whole album, man, like going through the lyrics, it's all like half of these songs were written with her and Fred Smith, her husband. Like they were working on them when he passed away.
Damn.
Half of them are written with Lenny Kaye, her original guitarist from the 70s. But like every single song is about death and grief, but done in a way that isn't.
I wasn't crazy about it.
I love this. This might be my favorite album. This one
I love
really
the cover.
the cover,
the album cover
photo on the cover.
Yes,
because there's a Bob Dylan cover on here. Wicked Messenger is a Bob Dylan song.
My notes on this album was whoa, kind of 90s country southern rock vibe.
Yeah,
kind of gets slow and then kind of Tom Petty-ish, and it just didn't really super overly stand out to me.
I think the context made a big difference. This was also one that I like wasn't doing anything else. I was just listening to this album, just reading the lyrics. Like, yeah, I don't know. It really got me. About a Boy is about Kurt Cobain because About a Girl is his song, and then she wrote About a Boy about him.
I need to re-listen to this now that you're giving me all this backstory because I feel like I'd like it more if I knew.
I recommend it. I really do recommend going back and having that kind of mindset listening to it.
I was heavily obsessed with Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, that song is that you talk about getting slow. That song gets slow. Like
it seems like Kurt was
long
friends with like all women musicians. Like he was friends with Kathleen Hanna, like super tight. It seems like he's been friends with like so many people we've talked about.
It's also interesting to hear songs about loss and mourning that aren't religious based. Like we're gonna see each other again and in heaven or whatever. And this album has a lot of that, but it's not about a religious thing. It's like we're all going to end up in the same place. And so when I get there, I don't know. I really like this album. I don't know that these are the best songs from top to bottom. I think there are better songs on other albums, but this album as a whole, I think may be my favorite one of hers. And it was like a really big comeback. Like it had been 8 years anyway since her last album. And so then to come back with this
was one of my favorites actually, because I knew that I had one that was like a favorite of mine. But I'm looking at my notes for all the other ones, and I don't see.
It has the last recorded performance from Jeff Buckley, like the last studio recording of his is doing vocals on this album. I wrote mature, but in a good way. It's not mature in like it's adult contemporary music or whatever, but it's like this is a grown person singing about grown people things.
The next album I really liked.
So to me, it's kind of a continuation of this one, released the next year. I think this one also had songs that she and her husband were writing. It also, to me, is about a lot of like, I mean, it's peace and noise. I think it's a lot about like grief and
Continuing grief, getting further
yeah,
in the process, kind of a vibe.
yeah, and
Yeah.
kind of like using art and music and stuff to
Yeah,
overcome that.
this was, I think this was my one that was my favorite.
It's good too.
Yeah. I found the note. Okay, I found it. It says a fave. Okay, this was the one.
I was genuinely surprised how much I liked stuff from the latter half of her career because I
Yeah.
really expected it to be like the punk rock stuff is great. Everything
And
like
then it
from
get
the
kind of
90s
weird,
on
kind of
is
like
going to
Tracy
be like,
Chapman did.
yes, it was going to be like, it's fine.
I
but
had
it's
that
not.
expectation too, especially after the dream of life.
Yes, that one
I
really
thought,
was
oh,
like,
here we go. Yeah, I
buckle
thought,
up.
here we go. We're getting into this, like, whatever the fuck this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it totally reverted back to punk again, like right after that.
But it wasn't, this one's, all
More
of
mature.
these are so much more than that, I feel
Yes,
like.
I
They're
agree.
not, I wouldn't classify any of these as punk albums.
I wrote interesting, kind of groovy, funky punk, a fave. And I thought Distillers definitely pulled influence from this
Yeah.
album, and Hole too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This one might be my fave.
I want you to go back and listen to Gone Again.
Okay, I'll listen to those in
Again?
succession again.
Yeah, and maybe even those two back to back. Like that's a
Yeah.
really good pairing, those two.
I listened to all of her albums twice, which
Yeah.
is what you did too, right?
Yeah.
Except for like the newer ones, the collaboration ones.
The
and stuff.
Soundwalk Collective people.
But I did listen to part of all of those too. So your favorite was the last one, and my favorite is Peace and Noise.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, like that. I added a multiple songs from this album to my retrospectrum playlist because I loved this one so much.
I did a Patti Smith and Friends playlist where
Nice.
I put songs from her albums that I like, but I also put like collaborators.
This was a good one though. This album was really good. Fucking Blue Poles, so many. Waiting Underground and Whirl Away. I mean, obviously, first song right off the bat, amazing. Like you've been saying, all of the first songs
Every
are so
single.
good.
If you were just gonna do a playlist of the first songs of her albums,
We
you'd
should.
have
That would be a good
11
one.
great songs.
This goes back to what I was saying about like the androgyny factor before. Is like it's very confusing. There's a lot of levels to it because it's like I want everyone to be able to be that comfortable to be themselves, you know, do whatever they feel like doing, wear whatever they feel like wearing, say whatever, you know, whatever. And like part of me is kind of gatekeepery about it because I'm like, okay, well, if you're not queer, then why are you stealing our vibe? You know what I mean? Like we don't have much, so let us have the one thing. But I hate gatekeepery vibes, and I don't want to be like that. Like I want everyone to be androgynous as fuck and like get the same respect as anyone else. Like you should be able to look however the fuck you look and get the same respect that any other human gets. And I think Patti Smith is a really good example of that. If she's putting on any type of persona, I can't fucking tell. She seems so authentic all the time to me. So I love people who are like, can be whatever they authentically are, and it works just because that is true to them. I love that about her. And also at the same time, it confuses me a little bit. It's still looking at her, even though I get her, totally get her because I am also that. I still look at her and am a little bit confused. And I think that's the thing that bothers me just a little bit. It doesn't bother me about her. It bothers me about me. Right. Or maybe it bothers me about society. Yeah, I'm just working all this out. Like,
did you? Okay, so Gung Ho is the next one.
Yeah.
The cover of Gung Ho, that's her dad, I guess, on the cover.
It looks a lot like her.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I was going for. It's like, kind of just looks like her on the cover.
I was unclear on who that was, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also, I'm pretty sure Gung Ho seems like it would be some kind of other racist type of thing we're not allowed to say, would be my guess.
Yeah, not quite as bad as that other one.
I guarantee you I've Googled that before, but I don't remember my Google results, unfortunately.
Got it right here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
It was a guy in the military was impressed how the Chinese troops worked together using a system of cooperation they called Gung Ho, which means work together. It just means working together. It's actually complementary.
So Gung Ho is actually the term. It's not like some white people term that they were
Well, I doubt
mocking
that
what
they
they were
would
saying.
say. I mean, I doubt that they would say it exactly how we're saying it.
Gung Ho started out with some sitar, which I love. Kind of got like a B-52's energy, kind of lo-fi, early Y2K kind of vibe.
Sitar always stresses me out because it can be so overwhelming, and I feel like every rock band has like a sitar phase where they like discover it and they think we're gonna put sitar in all our stuffs, and it's like
Less overwhelming than a harmonica.
it's never great in my opinion. It's fine for like small doses, but I always feel like they overdo it.
I like Indian music, so I fucking love a sitar.
But I
So
always feel like that
that's never bothers
Eastern
me.
influence always comes in and kind of like overwhelms, and it doesn't. You talk about being authentic or whatever, it's like it feels like a little gimmicky a
In
little
the
bit.
late 90s, in the early 2000s, I feel like a lot of people discovered sitar. A lot of
Right,
white
that's what I
people
mean.
discovered Indian music. Yes, I agree with you there. Like, but at
A
the same
little
time,
worried
I
about
love
that.
the way it sounds so much. It's hard for me to not enjoy it.
Right.
So even though like I get that vibe from it, like that it's kind of obviously influenced by what it's influenced by and like cultural appropriation type vibes.
So talking about Television being one of the bands that she came up with, the song "Glitter in Their Eyes" on this one, which
Yeah,
I thought was kind of a standout E
I
track.
liked it.
It has the dude from Television playing
Hmm.
guitar on
Okay.
that track. And so there's a lot of, like I said, I made the little Patti Smith and Friends playlist. There's some Television on there. There's some John Cale. I put some of the original versions, like the original Gloria that's covered on the first album.
Hmm.
I put the songs that she wrote for Blue Oyster Cult on there too. So there are 4 that she wrote the lyrics to. But yeah, the Television connection. So it's like, again, this is 2000, but it's that same kind of, it's the same original band minus the one dude. One of the band members had passed away right before Gone Again. Also, that was another one of the people. So he's not on any of these albums, but it's got
It's
Lenny
fucking
Kaye.
everybody dies all at once, man.
Yeah. Well, and she
I wonder
also
how old
has
she was.
lasted for a long time too. You know, she's 77 and still going strong, especially in like 1970s punk rocker
Right. When
1970s.
you're
Like
when all your friends are like artists, they're all gonna so many of them are gonna die young. So if you outlast.
this one to me was like, it's good. It's kind of from this point on, I feel similarly as like they're all good, but there's nothing, none of these really feel essential
I agree, except
to
for
me.
with one of them.
Which one?
Maybe it was the last one.
Banga?
It had a very reflective, mature nature about it, and it was really dark. I really liked it. I wrote love it, and I wrote I really like it in my notes. So twice.
Which album are you talking about?
It had to have been Banga, I guess, because it's my last note, my last album note.
How do you feel about the covers album?
I enjoyed it, which you would think potentially set up to not like,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought it was great because the covers, like a lot of them, I don't know, like they're just so her without totally abandoning the original. Like it's the perfect balance.
How'd you feel about Smells Like Teen Spirit?
I loved it.
Yeah.
And
I
I
thought maybe
love
you'd like.
Nirvana. And
Well,
yeah,
but
so
it's, I
like,
mean, you talk
it's the
about a
perfect.
departure. It's a departure even from Patti Smith's sound. I mean, there's some stuff that sounds like
She's
that in
like,
there.
it's the shit that she's a true artist. She's a true vessel, dude. Like, I feel like a lot of her shit, she's just fucking channeling it. Like, if it's a departure from her, it's a departure from Kurt. It's like something different entirely. It's like the art gods of the universe, like, fucking gave us this through the vessel of Patti Smith. I wasn't like super crazy about White Rabbit.
Yeah,
That was the only one on the album that I was just like, eh.
it's okay. But
But
I
maybe
think it's
because I love
good.
the original so much and the original's so specific. There's certain songs that are so specific to the original artist that I'm like, you can't, don't
You
try
don't
to,
even want to hear the
yeah.
cover version of it.
And it wasn't bad or anything. Like I wasn't mad about it, but it just wasn't my favorite one. What did you think of Trampin'?
I kind of okay, like I kind of group Gone Again and Peace and Noise together because they're similarly themed and
Yeah.
sonically similar. I kind of group Trampin' and Gung Ho together too, as like they're both good, they're both fine. Neither of them like they're going to be in the bottom third or whatever of her releases in
Yeah,
my mind.
Trampin' was like dark vibes, and I felt like
Yeah,
it was kind of like a reminiscent type of energy was what I was getting out of it.
yeah, I could see that. Do you kind of feel the same way about Banga also?
It was reflective for sure,
Yeah.
like reminiscent, but more like more mature reflection, I feel like. Like I
Yeah.
felt like Trampin' was like just reminiscing and it was dark. It was like a dark reminiscence. And then I felt like Bango was it just felt more reflective than reminiscent. It was still dark. It was still kind of dark, but it was mature rock. I fucking loved it. It was one of my favorites. It's definitely my top 5, maybe top 3, which is surprising to me. I didn't think I was gonna give a shit about it.
I felt that way about every single. I kept waiting for the drop off to happen and be like, okay, she's finally jumped the shark, or like
No,
this finally is not
what
good.
the
But
fuck
like, no,
does jump the shark mean?
like not sold out, but like become a caricature of yourself, like become a parody of your own self. I can tell you the origins of this phrase.
You can tell me the origin of jump the shark? Tell me.
Came from an episode of Happy Days. Fonzie's water skiing.
Fuck,
And
I've read
he
about this before. You're
jumps
right.
a shark on, and it was
you're,
like the point in the show where everybody's like, "This isn't good
you're
anymore."
correct. Nailed it.
Yeah, so that's what I kept waiting for Patti Smith. You know, where it was like she was trying to like
Yeah.
reclaim some prior glory, or just write radio hits or whatever. But I really think that she was true
That
to
never
her
happened.
artistic vision the entire time.
Well, and again, this goes back to why I am so obsessed with her because she's so authentic.
And even to like critical, like she did things that people didn't like, but that never felt like it was really taken into account. It felt like she always wrote and released
I
the
mean, if
songs
she's
that she
putting
wanted
the
to write and
N-word
release.
song on her fucking greatest hits,
That's
obviously.
the part that bothers me is because she's so conscious about everything that she does. And I just feel like I feel like removing it from streaming services is a step in the right direction. But I really think there needs to be some like at least a dialogue or something about it.
It's really interesting how even the most open-minded artist people, like you were saying, like she should be the type of person who would want to figure this shit out.
Right.
But yeah, it's very interesting. I definitely want to do some more research on that. And
There's so much more left that we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about any live albums. We haven't talked about any of the stuff she's done.
her stage presence is
Post.
fucking incredible.
Like she's now kind of like does award show presentations and is kind of the like figurehead of, I don't know, she's like an elder statesman of rock and roll and punk rock, and this like again kind of on a similar page of like a Bob Dylan type. She's
Except
a
for
little
Bob
bit,
Dylan is incoherent, so they can't use him to intro people at awards shows.
she's not quite as old as Bob Dylan, but like
he's what, 90?
I don't know.
He's fucking old. I saw him back in the day, and he was in his 70s when I saw him, and his music was like incomprehensible.
He's
Like
82. He's only 5 years older than she is. I thought he was a lot older than she was.
I seriously thought he was at least 90. He seemed so fucking old when he was in his 70s. So maybe did he do a bunch of drugs? Because she didn't seem to, from what
She
I'm
didn't do drugs.
gathering,
That was another
he
thing.
doesn't seem
She
to be
didn't.
doing drugs. Yeah.
She didn't do hard drugs in
And
the
that's
70s when
kind of
everybody
where
else was.
I relate to that vibe too, because I've always kind of been doing less drugs and less partying than everyone around me.
That was one of the things in the interviews was like she remembers a lot of the stuff because she wasn't. I think she like drank
Exactly.
and smoked weed, but I don't think she didn't get into hard drugs in the 70s and 80s, which I think was a little bit unique. I think a lot of her peers did,
Yeah,
especially
that's
a lot of the
impressive
punk
to be a
rockers,
musician in the
yeah.
in the fucking 70s and
in New
80s.
York.
Yeah, and not
So all that to say, like there are still multiple layers to her body of work. And like we talked about, like didn't get into photography. Like there are just things that she's written a bunch of books, not even like she's written more than just the ones that we've talked about. There's a lot of poetry. Like there's still so much more to uncover and to dig into. Even if we've been talking about the albums and the music and all that stuff, we still haven't even talked about all the musical things. I don't think we can.
right. Obviously,
in a reasonable amount of time.
we can't even consume it all.
Oh yeah, definitely. Bootlegs and live albums and live performances and videos and documentaries. Like there's still so much out there.
Well, that's the thing about prolific artists that have been practicing art like their entire lives, and they live a long life, a literal lifetime of work.
Do you feel like you have a better understanding of Patti Smith as a musician?
For
now?
sure.
Yeah. And
How could I not?
more of an appreciation
Absolutely.
than before.
And just an intense relatedness type of feeling. She seems to be very anti-label and like just anti in general, like the status quo, which again I super relate to. And that's like her androgyny and shit ties into that. And again, this is why has such staying power and she's so influential. You know, we talk a lot about like how the albums progress over time.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like there was an interesting progression with her, but I couldn't really like put my finger on a theme or whatever it was necessarily that was, you know, like a lot of the other bands, it's been really simple pointing out the progression.
Yeah, or like the influence on this album and the influence on that
Yeah,
album.
it's not as like clear cut with her, I feel like, which I think speaks to her multifacetedness as an artist in general.
I think if anything, it was like like Horses is really like locked in on what it is, and I think it's seen as one thing, like a punk rock thing, and I think each album after that is like expanding the boundaries of what she does, and I think that holds up. And that's probably the biggest thing about the last album is it feels completely untethered to like genre or style or anything. I think it's the most wide ranging, and so it seems like she started from like one point, and the main progression is just like not necessarily trying new genres but not being pigeonholed by any one genre at any one time.
Yeah, totally. Again, all of her influences are so vast, and it's not just musical, it's, you know, every type of art. And I feel like she's put all of that collectively, all the influence from everything into music. And I'm excited to get to the part in the book where she starts doing music because
How long does it go up through?
I have no idea. But apparently they're going to make a show about it.
Huh,
Showtime.
nice.
Yeah, that's going to be fucking awesome.
Well, this one was super fun. Again, I feel like there's still so much to get into or like look into or research or learn about or whatever. But yeah, I think this was a good one. I think this will rank up there with like, I'm glad I know all this stuff now. I'm glad I've listened to it. I'm glad I have a picture of which albums are what. And I honestly think all of them are worth listening to.
I agree.
And it kind of depends on what
Even
you're in
the
the mood for. I
weird
think
Jesus-y one.
I would go back and listen to almost any of them again. I probably won't do the Dream of Life, but Patti Smith, thumbs up.
Big
Good
thumbs
job.
up.
You made some good music.
I knew when I chose this that you would really like it. I've kind of, a lot of the bands that I choose are bands that I like, that I want to know more about, and that I think you'll also like.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you choosing for the next?
Okay, so I really wasn't prepared. Like I have a big long list, and I really didn't have one in mind for like this is what we're doing next. I know what it is, and I had this big long list, and I don't know, because I want to do something that's like out of, because there are some things on here that are like direct lines from Patti Smith to the next person,
Totally.
and I kind of want to step a little bit more outside of that.
Yeah.
So I have two choices, and I think I'm going to flip
But
a
I
coin.
bet it'll connect no matter what.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I think I'm going to flip a coin and go with one of the two choices, but I need to get.
I think the overarching theme of this podcast is that everything's connected.
Or that the
because that's the
record
overarching
industry is small and incestuous.
Yeah, because it's all the same producers producing all
Yeah,
the everyone's albums, so that's why it all sounds similar.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're influenced by no, was just the same fucking guy who pressed record.
Okay, hang on. I got to figure out which one is which. I'm flipping this coin here. Heads, we're going to do I'm going to go alphabetical. Heads, we're going to do the first alphabetical one. Tails, we'll do the second one.
Okay, those are my two initials.
Okay, heads, we're going to do for our next band, Chumbawamba.
I secretly kind of love Chumbawamba, so whatever.
Yeah, so they're on the, I think they have 9 or 10 albums.
Oh my god. Who knew?
That's what I'm saying. We're about to. So second episode. I feel like that's removed from Patti Smith. They'll be interested to see
so
what
is the one that doesn't end up, is it the one that's going on the Wheel of Death? Because Chumbawamba also feels low-key Wheel of Death-ish.
I think you'll be what I do know, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. What I do know, it may be And maybe a fun experience. It's going to be an experience. This one I'm gonna lump in probably with the more of a They Might Be Giants of like I have a vague idea.
Oh, you
but
mean Chumbawamba? Okay, yeah.
yeah,
That makes sense.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what we're about to
I agree.
bite off. But I think I looked it up. I think it's like
That's with most gimmicky bands.
9 albums. I think we have some things to learn.
Okay, sure.
14 albums spanning from 1985 to 2010.
14 albums?
Spanning from 1985.
You're fired.
Remember, you have this power the next time.
See, remember just moments ago when I said I choose based on what I think you'll like.
I'm following my curiosity here.
I love it.
Do you have a Wheel of Death band ready to go?
I have a lot of lists.
You'd only get to pick one. That's the hard part. Surely you can come up with one. I already know one that
definitely can.
You would put on there to punish me specifically.
Oh, that's the one. Bruce Springsteen.
Okay. Well, that's going to be... do you have any idea how many albums he has?
Oh, God.
Yeah, you're punishing
We're
yourself
only doing
also
one Wheel
with
of
this.
Death episode per season, at least.
Yes.
So it might not be.
It's not as many as I thought.
See, we'll be fine. How many?
23. That's a lot. God, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Woof. Okay, so our next episode will be on Chumbawamba, and we have added Bruce Springsteen to the Wheel of Death. Sound good?
Party on.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Are they ever going to keep you down?
We'll find out next time.
On Retro Spectrum, the podcast for your ears. I don't know. We need a tagline.
Shouldn't be that.
Thanks for listening to Retro Spectrum. Hit us up on socials at Retro Spectrum Pod. And if you like what we do, be sure to leave a 5-star review on all podcasting platforms. And subscribe to our Patreon at Retro Spectrum Pod. See you next time. Bye.
Retro Spectrum.